Yes, that's right, everyone. It's the blade you've all been waiting for. It's finally time for Perun. Actually, no one has asked about Perun, but I am here to deliver you a Perun guide anyway out of the kindness of my heart. Perun is a blade near the bottom of C tier with a couple very niche specific uses, and outside of that, doesn't do much to set herself apart or make her worth using more over other Mega Lances or really other offensive blades in general. Her kit is weird and doesn't synergize too well with the rest of the combat system, but at the very least she does have a gimmick, which is more than I can say for someone like Florin. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at Perun, discussing all of her strengths and weaknesses, and seeing how to use her most effectively. As always, if you enjoy my guide content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because it does help me out so much. Let's get into it. So Perun is the final Mega Lance blade to discuss. Mega Lances are a weapon class with a pretty solid auto attack value, able to reach around 1500 with the best core chips, and up to a 50% critical hit rate with the Moon Matter core chip, which is the second highest tier in the game. They are also tied for the lowest block rate, but that doesn't really matter all that much. Her defenses are 10% physical and 15% ether, so nothing amazing, but okay enough for an attack class blade. Her stat mod is only 10% dexterity, so not really going to be doing much there, just some marginal extra hit chance, and her cooldown is 5, which is among the best in the game. As usual though, her skill tree is what really matters, so let's take a look at that. Perun's first skill is Battle Plans. This will increase her auto attack damage by 20% at level 1, rising up to 100% at level 5. To be quite frank, auto attacks are not a good source of damage in this game, and using arts is typically going to be the better option for nearly every blade. This is also the case for Perun despite this skill, because just having doubled auto attack damage doesn't do nearly enough to justify not using arts and specials, which are inherently a lot more valuable and still do more damage. Spamming auto attacks with Perun is not going to help you do much damage or kill enemies very quickly or efficiently. As such, it's hard to call this skill very good, and it would be so much better if it was just a general 100% damage increase. Auto attacks just get outscaled way too much in this game for this to ever be useful for Perun. Perun's second skill is Silent Spear. This will reduce all aggro drawn from auto attacks by 30% at level 1, rising up to 50% at level 5. Wow, what an equally worthless skill to go along with her first skill. Auto attack damage is already pretty meaningless and not likely to draw aggro, so cutting that in half isn't going to be doing much of anything. This skill is straight up terrible. Even among aggro reduction skills, this has got to be the worst in the game. Auto attack aggro damage from Perun is not going to be a problem that needed fixing, I can assure you, and you are not likely to ever see any benefits from this, or her first skill for that matter. Not looking very good for Perun right now, but at the very least her third skill gives her a unique identity. Defender will increase her damage by 150% and reduce damage taken by 20% when an ally is below 30% health or is dead. And these values rise up to 250% and 40% at level 5. These are insanely good values to be sure. 250% is a very large damage increase, and 40% damage reduction is certainly impressive. The problem with this skill is the condition of it is very inconsistent or straight up unoptimal in a lot of situations. There are not very many times you are ever going to want a party member dead. I could see maybe some cheeky gimmick with Telos and Perun teaming up, but otherwise I just don't think dying is ever a good strategy. You can try to take advantage of this by just having a teammate at low HP, or just trying to stay at low HP yourself with specific setups and letting ally Perun do a lot of damage. But this is such an inconsistent strategy to rely on. It does somewhat justify using her in harder battles, I suppose, but I just can't get behind the theory of this skill more than anything, and I don't think it's likely to be too useful over just having a strong team of 3 where you don't have to worry much about ally health ranges to deal damage and get a defense boost. All around, this makes Perun's skills pretty poor in my eyes, and definitely on the lower end of offensive blades from a skill perspective, but at the very least, Perun still has something going for her that we have not talked about yet. Let's check out her specials. Perun's level 1 special is Cold Sever. This is a 16-hit physical special. That's right, it is 16 hits, tied with Herald for the most a level 1 special has in the game, and more than 8 hits ahead of third place. This makes it one of the best specials for very quick chain attacks where you're looking to kill enemies quickly with no orbs. It can be difficult to get cap damage with this special, but it's still a very strong option nonetheless if you have the right setups, and can get strong multipliers and fusion combos going. The damage ratio is the average of 300 at level 1, 460 at level 5, and 480 at max affinity, and the bonus effect is increasing damage from the side by 150%, which is fortunately usually pretty easy to line up before a big chain attack or something, which can make this special incredibly useful and hard-hitting. This special alone might be the most useful thing about Perun, and is one of the major positives to using her if you can take advantage of it. It's even pretty fast for a 16-hit special, which is just a final positive. All around, excellent special for its hit count and potential chain attack damage, and probably one of Perun's major saving graces. Perun's level 2 special is Punishment Strike. Besides sounding sadistic, this special is the polar opposite of her level 1 as far as usefulness. For one, the damage ratio is pretty low at 400 at level 1, 560 at level 5, and 580 at max affinity, and it's only a single hit this time around with a pretty mediocre special effect of just reducing aggro. If it has anything going for it, it does have an area of effect radius, so I guess that's at least something, but overall the special is not very good at all, especially compared to her level 1. Perun's level 3 special is Extinction Icicle. This is another physical, single-hit special that isn't really too good. It has another pretty below-average damage ratio of 500 at level 1, 660 at level 5, and 680 at max affinity, and its bonus effect is increasing damage when a party member is incapacitated, which is once again not a great strategy and not something you should want to rely on. Because of that, I don't really like this special at all, and the only real positive is the 25% critical hit rate modifier. Very disappointing how our level 1 is pretty good, but these specials are not at all. Perun's level 4 special is Snowflake of Judgment. This special also has a below average damage ratio of 950, and once again the bonus effect is increasing damage if a party member is incapacitated. We have been over this, but having a party member dead is not an ideal situation, so I do not like this bonus effect, but I guess if you really want to use Perun, she can actually become good if you just kill a party member off. It has a 40% critical hit mod, which is okay I guess, but it's also pretty underwhelming overall. Perun is really a one-trick pony as far as specials go, and if she didn't have 16 hits in her level 1, she would probably be one of the worst blades in the game. Go Ice Blades, right? For setup, I'm running the Moon Matter Courtship because the critical hit rate is very valuable on Mega Lances, and no other stats or effects are really valuable for the weapon. Because Perun wasn't bad enough already, she only gets a single Aux Core slot, which you should probably devote to Affinity Max Attack just so she has some damage when an ally isn't dead, so she can try to do something sometimes. And in a similar vein, I'm using a Lightened Loincloth on Rex to boost her pretty mediocre damage up even further just as a good source of damage increase. And Crimson Headband is also here to boost her critical damage since she has a very high critical hit rate. The final accessory is a burst symbol because if you're not trying to chain attack with Perun, then I don't know what you're using her for. Maybe you can get cheeky and use a Bloody Orb or Demon Orb with her, and that increases damage massively if an ally dies and get Super Perun, but I really just don't like strategies where party members die, so you can just experiment with that yourself if you're interested. For pouch setup, once again, Art Recharge and Party Meter Gain are great on Perun to use more arts, which means more specials, which means more party member, which means more chain attacks that can hurt a lot if you actually set them up properly. With all that done, let's take a look at how to use Perun practically. So a lot of Perun's strength comes out of chain attacking if you can set up strong fusion combos. Typically you want to try to set up 2 combos on the same driver combo, 2 blade combos that is, get a lot of damage out of Perun, and I'm going to try to do that by using Perun's level 4 special and Tutor's level 3 special, which will both halt the driver combo times to allow me to get a pretty good fusion combo going. Now unfortunately, I don't account for the fact that Permafrost Crash has Blowdown on it, so I end up not being to the side of Tyranitar when I want to be, which is a little bit unfortunate because I'm going to lose a little bit of my damage in the chain attack from Perun's level 1 that I would normally have otherwise. But we're just going to wait for Tora to break one more time here now that I've charged up my level 4. And this is a pretty good strategy here. So the break is completely frozen with the driver combo we're using right now. I'm sure you all know about that phenomenon. And if we use Permafrost Crash immediately afterwards, it'll only tick down very slightly before we're able to just chain attack immediately afterwards, which is going to be a pretty big benefit of this. But unfortunately, he does get Blowdown from this, and I didn't think to reposition myself in time, so I end up not being behind him, or to the side of him, so I lose a bit of that bonus damage from the level 1 here. Because it looks like I'm diagonal to him now, unfortunately, and I would have done more damage otherwise, but that's okay. That is fine. We still, even with that, we were able to do like 300,000 with the hits we were doing, stuff like that, so that's not too bad at all. But Perun does rely a lot on at least getting that side damage to a lot of damage herself, and without that, even her 16 hits aren't going to be super impressive with the amount of damage it's dealing, but still, that was still a lot more damage than most blades can do in a chain attack on a level 1, so that's really nice, just because of her huge amount of hits. And here's just an overkill, because, you know, we can. Perun's level 2 was single hit, of course, that's easy to get the chain attack, the damage cap on that in a chain attack, but I don't really recommend using her level 2. She's all about using her level 1, really. And just to accentuate and show that off more, I want to show off one of the very classic strategies in challenge mode here where you're able to use Perun and Herald's level 1 to instantly kill the Ardanian Kuradal as fast as possible with their very powerful level 1 damage and chain attacks, and using a double stack fusion combo on a break with the Volt into the Flame Bolt here, into the chain attack. And the driver here does not have Rex. That's not a huge deal though. What we're basically doing is just aligning it so the Perun driver is to the side. That's going to give the level 1 here a lot of additional damage. And yeah, this is one of the really cool strategies you can do to kill an enemy without any kind of orbs, even with the 27 million HP he has. If you were able to set it up properly, I just wanted to quickly show that off, the power of Perun in a chain attack. But let's show off a more, like, specific scenario now. Not specific, but, like, general scenario, I meant. So here's just going to be a battle against immovable Air Carlos. My setup here actually has Zeke running the Abyss Mask, so we can be low on health or even dead at certain points in this challenge, so we can get a lot of additional damage from Perun. Now, I don't have any self-healing on Perun, and that's going to be a little annoying a little bit later on when I actually do manage to take aggro a little bit, but besides that, this battle did not really go very badly at all. Tor was able to do the things he needed to do. Zeke could stay on low HP a couple times and give me some extra damage. Now, unfortunately, since Perun only has one Aux Core slot, you cannot run Night Vision and Affinity Max attack, so you're going to see a lot of my attacks missing here, despite my Dexterity mod and everything like that, because I wanted the damage from Affinity Max attack. Unfortunately, I timed this level 4 a bit too early. I thought Tor would have his Permafrost Crash up, and he unfortunately does not. So I don't end up getting the full fusion that I wanted here, and that's fine, not a big deal. But now I can just use it whenever. I'm actually saving it for now, because I thought, like, well, I can just wait for another break or something. But then Tor decides he's not going to be very useful in that endeavor, and this is where the problem comes. I think Tor is going to take aggro or break or something, and then he just doesn't, and I end up dying. But, you know, that's okay. Not really a big deal in this fight. I feel bad showing off a battle where I died, but, you know, sometimes it happens. I didn't have any kind of self-healing. My only healing just comes from the potion drops and everything like that. And I wanted Zeke to be low HP person. I wanted Zeke to stay low HP just to try to keep my damage stacking up with Perun. So that's not really that important. I could have run Avant-Garde Metal if I really wanted on Perun, but I really just need as much damage as possible so she can do something. And fortunately, Tor is not going to die, and Dagus is probably not going to take aggro off the Tor, so it's not really a huge deal there. I end up just chain attacking here because I'm like, well, I'll just get rid of the Awakening status. I don't want to deal with him doing a ton of damage to me. Unfortunately, I couldn't get like a really good fusion combo chain attack going. Not really a huge deal, though. I'm just going to break the orb into not worry about doing much else in this chain attack, because I don't want to get him too low on HP just yet. I think I miscalculated, though, and it would have been better just to take the damage, because I thought he wouldn't enrage just yet, but unfortunately I think he does enrage, and I end up running into a bit of problems because of that, or I at least get into a scary situation, but it ends up working out just fine, because, you know, I'm always calculating everything perfectly in these battles, you know, just absolutely perfectly. So, yeah, he does end up enraging, which means he uses Wild Wave here, but fortunately, Tora lives with 1 HP, but if he didn't, I would have gotten, you know, the big damage boost for Perun anyway, and it would have been worth it, right? Right? Totally. Anyway, I'm just staying to the side of him so I can just line up my level 1 when I need it and stuff like that. Right now, what I want to do is just charge at the same combo, my level 4 into Tora's level 3. He certainly got his level 3 special up by now, so we can definitely just do that whenever. Unfortunately, this breaks a bit early, but I end up just going for it anyway, just because I think I've got the ability to. Carlos is lined up to the side of me, at least I believe he is. I think he actually gets blown down also in this battle, but I think I still stay to the side of him, or at least I move to position myself to the side of him. It looks like he actually targets me after that, but fortunately, Cutie Pie is going to do a ton of damage with this and take all of the aggro back because she's Cutie Pie and that's just how she works. We get the double stacked fusion there. I try to quickly position myself to the side of him before the break loses too much duration. And this is going to allow our level 1 to do a lot of damage here. We could have had fusion combo up on Tor to do even more damage here and something like that, but we're still able to do a lot of damage at level 1. And fortunately, with that double stack fusion combo, we're able to go through the rest of his health bar. And I would have had even more damage, maybe even damage capped, as Zeke actually stayed below 30% health, but I think he got above it, so Perun didn't get that damage multiplier, unfortunately, but that's okay. Not really the biggest deal here, because at this point we basically just win anyway, so it's not the largest deal in the world. So yeah, if you had to ask me about Perun's main niche, I would say level 1 on chain attack, and then maybe besides that, she can do a lot of damage, hurt a lot when an ally is low on health or something. But that's not as reliable, so that is just not something I like to rely on much of the time. But it can be a strategy. If you want to go Demon Orb Perun, just kill off one of your allies and get like a 400% damage boost and just destroy everything in your path with Perun, you can do that. I still think it's better to have 3 party members in general, but, you know, that is a strategy if you really want to experiment with that. And, yeah, Perun's level 1 is good, and her Defender skill can be useful for some interesting gimmick strategies if you really want to do that. So that's going to cover it for this guide, I think. I hope you guys learned something from watching this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below, all that good stuff, and support me any other way you can. Buy merch. I have really cool merchandise, so yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, with all that being said, look forward to my future content, and have a wonderful and blessed day.